Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vessel.
And I'm Mike Delisio.
Today we're taking a look at Bonsai, which, from my watching the Karate Kid movie, I was under the impression that these things cost like enormous amounts of money to make somebody join a tournament rather than one fall off a trip. And then when I got older, I was like, they're not as expensive as I thought.
Right. It kind of made me see the movie in a whole different way. I can't even watch The Karate Kid anymore.
Well, that was The Karate Kid 3, so you're probably fine.
That's true.
Bonsai is about building a bonsai tree with tiles and by drafting cards. It's actually pretty simple. Let me show you. In this game, each player is going to get their own base of the bonsai tree. You can see there's some of a branch coming out of it. And you'll have this tile in front of you for cards. This board is placed in the middle of the table. Depending on seating order, players will get one or a few of these different tiles. There are 4 different types of tiles. There is the wood tiles. There are the leaf tiles. There are the flower tiles. And there are fruit tiles. On your turn, and turns will just go around the table, you are going to have 2 different options. You can either meditate or you can cultivate. Meditating is pretty simple. You're going to take one of these cards in the middle. You're going to claim a card. You can pick any of the 4 cards you want. If you pick any of these 3 cards, you will also get tiles. So if I take this card here, I will also get a green and a yellow tile, or a leaf and a fruit tile. All the cards will slide over. Now this is a character card. If I take that, he's going to give me 2 more wood tiles. I'll turn them face down. This card is endgame scoring card. But these cards, when I take one of these cards, I'm going to put this card underneath my tile like this, showing different types. And this card gets placed on the other side. And as you collect more cards, this will get more larger as you place these out. This is going to matter for a couple things. At the end of your turn, you can only have 5 tiles. But for each watering, each tool that you take, you can have 2 more. So now I can have 7 tiles. The other action that you can take on your turn, besides meditate, taking a card, is you can cultivate. And you can place tiles onto your tree. At the beginning of the game, you can place 1 leaf, 1 wood, and then 1 of anything. But if I have these 5 tiles, I can place a leaf, a wood, 1 of anything, and a flower, and a fruit. That's all one action. I can place all those if I have them. Now when you cultivate, there's different rules about placing the tiles. Wood tiles are the easiest. You just have to place it next to at least 1 other wood tile. So this is your chance to build branches, because wood tiles aren't going to usually bring you points, but they're ways to get other things out. Leaf tiles, when you place a leaf tile, it has to touch a wood. And it actually shows you that on here. So I could put 1 here. It can touch more than 1 wood, but it has to touch at least 1 wood. So you can see I could place it here. As you place out the leaf tiles, they are forming leaves on the branches that you build. A fruit tile has to be between 2 leaf tiles, which are next to each other. So that means I could place one, for example, right here. So now the fruit is there. And a flower just needs to be adjacent to a leaf tile. So I could put a flower here maybe, or I could put a flower over here. And this is how the bonsai tree is going to grow. I could maybe put some more branches and continue up farther. Your bonsai tree can even go below your thing here. And this is going to be the way that players are going to score points. The game is going to keep going until the last card from the deck in the middle of the table is revealed. And at that point, you're going to score. First of all, there's ordinary scoring. Wood is nothing. Each leaf tile is worth 3 points. A flower tile is worth 1 point for every empty side. So this flower tile would get 1, 2, 3 points here. And then a fruit tile, if it's not next to other fruit tiles, so you don't ever want to do that, is worth 7 points. At the beginning of the game, you're going to pick 3 tiles, and there are 5 different types of tiles you can put out. You put out 3 of these different types of tiles out here. And at the end of your turn, whether you meditate or cultivate, if you have reached one of these, you can take it. So for example, if I have 8 wood tiles, I can take this. It's worth 5 points. But I might want to wait until I get 10 and get 10 points, or 12 and get 15 points. So you have these are going to score you points in a game. Having a bunch of leaf tiles or having flowers that are over the edge of your starting planter pot. So they have to be all the way over on the different side. The other two are fruits. And then making your bonsai tree go to the sides, or there's even one that makes it go below your planter. Also, if you drafted any of these cards, they're worth points at the end of the game, and they tell you exactly what they're worth points for. Anyway, you add up all your points, and whoever has the most is the winner. So the thing that really impressed me, first of all, is I think this game's really pretty.
It is.
It's a gorgeous little game, but what's impressive about it is the rules make you make a bonsai tree, and everyone's are going to look different.
Yes.
But they look like bonsai trees. I was so impressed by that.
Yeah, it really was something that, when I first saw it on a table being demoed before I'd ever played it, I was wondering how freeform it would allow you to be, right? Can you really just make it go however you want, or are you kind of on rails? And you're absolutely not. I mean, it may not score well, but you can make your tree look almost however you want it to.
What kind of forms how the trees are? Like they have that one objective set of tiles that says if you go over the sides or go below the bottom, and suddenly people are doing that.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh. So they're formed by those objective tiles to some degree, and
true.
Or by whatever you take. But aesthetically, the whole game is really pleasing to me. Sliding the cards, building the trees. It's not. You don't have to look up in the rules what things mean.
No.
The only thing was that one objective would say you need to come out on both sides, and we were like, does that mean all the way, or is half a tile count? That was the only little rules issue. The rest of it I thought was really simple.
Yeah, I agree with that. The objectives are relatively easy to understand. I mean, I could see someone getting confused because I didn't even notice the little crack in the pot until I saw an objective that specifically referenced, that type of a thing. But other than that, it's pretty clear.
I did play with some people who are newer to board gaming, and they were confused. They're like, well, the leaves only shows wood coming out one side.
Right.
So it can't touch two wood. And I'm like, no, you can. And that bothered them, but also I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
No, because really the placement rules are quite simple. They really are. Basically, the foliage, the green tiles have to touch, at least one wood tile, and you can't have two of the fruits next to each other, I think. It's not that complicated.
Well, you can, but then they don't score.
They don't score, right, so you wouldn't want to. But I could see for newer gamers, there's, what seems like a very light game to you and I may not to newer players.
Now, did you play with that variant? There's a variant mentioned in the rules that talks about stacking a deck so you kind of build up first and then the point cards are near the end or whatever.
I did not play it that way. I mean, I could see that it would change it a little bit.
I think one of my concerns with the game, actually it's probably my only concern, those card draft, those point ones are so powerful.
Yeah, they really are. That
I almost would draft it even if I don't need it, just so someone else doesn't get it.
That is true. And it's a very deceivingly fast game. Like, if you're not ready for it, as a matter of fact, if I'm going to be teaching this to new players of this game, I'm going to emphasize that at the beginning, that this is one of those games that the end is going to come sooner than you expect, and you need to be prepared for that. It's not a huge deck of cards that you are going through. It is adjusted by player count, but no matter what player count, it's a quick game. And so those scoring cards, yes, they're going to be heavily fought over.
And the economics in the game, you have to figure out, because you won't have so many actions, so you have to say, okay, I could plant and cultivate, but maybe you should wait till you cultivate and you can put out that many tiles in one shot. You don't want to waste actions in this game.
You do not. The two, you mentioned one negative for you. The two negatives for me are both kind of related. And it's related to the fact that when you splay out the cards to the left and right, which I love that. I love that. I think that it's going to be very easy for somebody to forget, and they're going to plant something that they don't have access to or that they've run out of, because the cards on the right side basically tell you what you have access to. And your home tile gives you access to, it's a wild, I think, right? I think that people could get caught up with, okay, wait, did I spend this fruit already or not? You know, that kind of a thing.
Okay,
you
I
have
can
to
see
kind of
that.
keep track of that stuff. And when it gets towards the end of the game and you might have 6 cards off to the right, I think that's a little bit tricky. It would have been nice if there was a way to kind of track that easier, but it's not a huge issue, but it is something I have found.
What was the other one?
Oh, and the other one was, the fact that I think someone could inadvertently cheat by putting something that they either forgot that they didn't have access to or overspent, that kind of a thing.
Well, here's the deal. I think this is not quite a Zen game, but it leans in that direction.
It does.
And so for me, this is a 7 out of 10. You might think, Tom, you said all those good things. Why is it not higher? Because I don't think the decision space is ultimately that huge.
No.
When I play a game of Bonsai and I play another game, I'm like, oh, my tree looks different. But I kind of did the same things.
Yeah.
I look at the cards and I don't normally struggle. I go, that's the card I want, and those are the tiles I want.
Yes.
I take it. And then the struggle is trying to figure out, time it so that now I cultivate and put stuff out. But it's fun. It's enjoyable. It's light. I don't know how many times I'll play it.
Sure.
But I think it's a great game to introduce people to who like this theme.
I agree. And I'm very close to you, but I'm actually going to go a half point above because at its base level, it's not the most innovative game, right? We've seen, offhand, Kanagawa did that similar thing with the cards kind of being splayed to either side. And we've seen a lot of tile placement games that, this is getting to be more and more of a crowded genre. And so it's not innovative. I can't give it extra points for being innovative. What I can give it points for, 7 for being a fun, quick, approachable game. And then I'm giving it an extra 0.5 because quite honestly, the gimmick to it, which is the building of the trees, is enough to give it an extra half of a point.
It really is.
It really is cool to see it at the end and not only that, but to look at everyone else's tree. So 7.5 for me.
There you go, folks. That's Bonsai. I'm Tom.
I'm Mike.
And I'm not entering the tournament.
Right-hand circle, left-hand circle.